Welcome at jyotishportal.com. We regularly update and add new tables or new options to broaden the user preferences so that the KP community gets more enriched. So, in this video, I'll draw your attention towards the two new significations that we pull together in one table. Those are the planets sub-sublord signification and the star lord of a planet sublord signification. Now this might sound a little complicated, but actually it's very easy. So planet sub-sublord signification is very clear. So you have the signification up to the sublord, and now you can find the planet sub-sublord the signification up to the sub-sublord. And this particular signification, star lord of a planet sublord signification. So if you break down this whole phrase into smaller part, it will become clear to you. So star lord of a planet sublord. So you have the planet sublord, but then there is another step. So that looks into the star lord of a planet sublord. Let me show you where to find these two signification on Jyotish portal, and I will little bit dwell on why these are required. See, I personally don't make use of the sub or even the star lord, but I'll show you why there is usually a request to accommodate the signification and how these are used when analyzing a birth horoscope. When you generate a chart, then you have to click on this particular option. PLS plus basically means planet signification plus. That means some additional signification information for the planets. When you click on it, so it will take you to this particular table. Now, if you look at this table, you find these two columns. So this is the star lord of sublord, and this is the sub-sublord. So let's first see why this sub-sublord signification is required. If you are not making use of the cuspal sublord because they are very vulnerable to small time differences, and in many of my videos I have strongly recommended that for the birth horoscope you should not make use of the cuspal sublord. These are very unreliable. And one reason is the time. If there is a 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes time difference, then these cuspal sublord they change, especially if they are on the borderline of a small subs like Ketu or Sun, then they're very likely to change with a little bit of time difference. So with this, you cannot possibly rely on the cuspal sublord. But this is just the 40% reason. People think that because of this, we should not use the cuspal sublord, but this is just 40%. The vulnerability to the time difference. 60% reason is something else, which I have discussed in some of my videos, but I'm going to consolidate and pull it all together in one video where I'll show you that why cuspal sublord are not meant for the birth horoscope. Even if you have a nanosecond precise birth horoscope, the cuspal sublord are not structured to answer the queries regarding the birth horoscope. So 60% it is the other reason. 40% it is of course the time. So now if you are not making use of the cuspal sublord, so you are only left with the planet's sublord. The planet sublord, if suppose somebody is born, let's say today at 10 a.m. and same time, same place, somebody is born tomorrow, then the planet sublord, especially for the slow moving planets like Jupiter and Saturn, the sublord are not likely to get changed. So now it creates an additional problem. You get the same horoscope, and especially for the slow moving planets Saturn and Jupiter, even the sublord is the same. So for this reason, many KP practitioners, they fall back or they depend on the sub-sublord signification. Now let me show you two charts. One chart is for today at 10 a.m. for New Delhi, and then we have the same but particulars 10 a.m. Delhi for the 20th. And then let's compare what happens to the planet sublot. That will give you a hands-on idea. This is the chart for 20th of November, 10 a.m. So let's go to our planet signification plus and make a copy of it. Now you can just double click on any table. That way it's going to copy the table to your clipboard. So we are going to just double click on this and make a copy. It gives you a message whether the table has been copied or not. So what we did was we double clicked on this planet signification plus table that has these columns, both the columns, but right now we'll just focus on the sub-subcolumn. Now let's look at the 19th November 10 a.m. position and then compare both the sublots. I'm going to put both the planet signification for 19th and the 20th side by side so that you can have a very good visual uh, comparison. Let's say this is November 20th, 10 a.m. So we made a copy of it. We'll just paste it over here. So this is November 20th. Now let's look at the 19th. This is 19th. Same time, 19th, 10 a.m. New Delhi. And this is our table. So we are going to double click on this and then open our editor, and this is 19. So now you have both, but we'll get rid of this, the star of sublot that we don't need. So we're going to delete this column. Similarly, we are going to delete this column from here. Let's delete this blank column also. Okay, so now you have a very clear view for the 19th November 10 a.m. and for the 20th November. Let's look at some of the signification. Now, if you look at the sublord level, this one, sublord. Then you find that for the 19th, the sublord is Jupiter for Ketu, and then the Venus sublord changes. Here it is Jupiter, but here, the sublord becomes Saturn. So for fast moving planets, the sublord is going to change. But let's just focus on the Jupiter and Saturn. So Jupiter's sublord is Mars, so it becomes Mars over here also. You see, Jupiter's sublord is Mars. Here also it becomes Mars. And then the Saturn's sublord is also Mars. And here it is Mars. So this is the problem that I was talking about. That when you are not considering the cuspal sublord and you're looking at only the planets signification table, then some of the star lord will change, especially for the fast moving planets. But for Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, the sublord might remain the same. So it creates an issue that when the significations are same, then the interpretation is going to be the same. But let's first look at what happens when the sublord is added. So if you look at the sublord, then for the 19th, you find that the sublord for Jupiter is Mars. And for the 20th, it's Mars. It hasn't changed. And the reason is that Jupiter is retrograde. So it's pretty much just hovering in that particular sub position. Sorry, the sublord is Saturn. Here also it is Saturn. But if you look at the Saturn, the sublord, you see here it is Venus, and here it becomes Ketu. So this changes the houses that are denoted by Saturn signification. So that is the whole idea behind the sublord, to find out about the slow moving planet. They will only they are not going to change the sublord in 24 hours. Slow moving planet will not change. But sublord, it might happen, it might not happen. That we saw with at least one example. But like I mentioned, that I don't make use of it, the sublord, because the reason for this is in 24 hours, the moon changes. With moon, the Mahadasha changes. And when the Mahadasha changes, then many things that are promised in a horoscope are not going to happen in a person's life. If suppose that particular Mahadasha has already exhausted at the time of birth, or it might appear in the Dasha timeline when a person is 80 years old, then also it has no practical use. So when the moon changes, the Dasha changes, and the house rotation that I have already discussed, especially the Dasha Lagna, this all changes. So, but it is up to you. This is given in the Jyotish portal, the Saptablot. So, in whatever way you want to make use of the Saptablot table. Now let's focus on the star lord of sublord. What exactly is meant by this, and how these significations are calculated, and what is the practical use. Let's make a copy of it and go here. This is how you get the. Now if you look at we'll get rid of this particular, we don't need. So star lord of sublord, this is if you break down this phrase, then it will become clear to you. So what is let's say what is the Ketu's sublord? It is Jupiter. And what is Jupiter's the star lord? It is Jupiter again. Okay. So all you do is you look at the star lord of the sublord and put those numbers over here. So this is how this table is constructed. The idea is that the in within the KP astrology, and even Professor K.S. Krishnamurti has in many places made use of the star lord of sublord. So there are certain, I would say, inconsistencies in Krishnamurti Paddhati. In some places, I have seen Professor mentioning the star lord of sublord, but it's not that all the time he has made use of the star lord of the sublord. So, but you should be knowing that the professor himself has made use of the star lord of sublord. I don't know why there is this inconsistency, or why at some point did professor totally abandon the star lord sublord. That I really don't know. But one interesting thing that you should know about this star lord of sublord is that the fourth step is actually derived from the star lord of the sublord. This fourth column. See, normally in planet signification you only see the star lord and the sublord, right? But in the fourth step you will have these additional columns. So, and the idea behind is the same that we discussed: the star lord of the sublord. Of course, in the when you are preparing a four-step table, then certain other rules are to be followed. And this is how the fourth step is created. But it originates from the star lord or the sublord idea, that the actual the deciding factor is not the sublord alone, but it is combined, both the sublord and the star lord of the sublord. So this is the whole idea behind it. So I hope now you know how to find these two significations on Jyotish portal. So do share your thoughts how you are using these signification, and if you were able to find some new insight, you can share in the comment section. That's all in this video. Thanks for watching.